Lately, we've been making almond milk completely from scratch using the ChefSofi mortar and pestle. This is the big one. There are various recipes out there for almond milk, and we went with a really basic one. Half a cup of almonds soaked overnight, then strained and placed in the stone vessel. Recipes for use with modern tools vary quite a bit in terms of the amount of water that you're going to use. But they all have you tossing the water and the almonds in the blender at the same time. And I have found it better to start by pulverizing the almonds. It doesn't take as long as you might think it would. There was in real time about 1 minute between the first film clip when I just barely started and this one, and you can see the progress we're making. Also, I'm using the smaller of the pestles that comes with the set because you can see better, but the big one is actually quite a help. By now, the almonds are fine enough to proceed with adding the water. So having started with 1/2 cup of almonds, we added 1 cup of water. That's a 2-to-1 ratio. Many recipes call for as much as 4-to-1, but we like it like this. And now you can begin to pulverize the almonds farther into the liquid and see the milkiness beginning to come out. Also, I pick out as many of these skins as I can. Hasn't got to be perfect, but we prefer the skins to be removed, and they do start to come off at this point in the process. I have made as much as twice this much in the same mortar and pestle. That is beginning with 1 cup of almonds and 2 cups of water. And I never do use the original water. It's an open question whether straining off the original water in which they soaked is better or using it is better, and we're doing it this way. You can experiment. At this point, you can begin to feel around for almond that still needs smushing farther, and it's getting smoother. As the almonds go more and more into the liquid solution, the skins begin to float, and you can pick out some more of them if it matters to you. As you work, the required action changes. At first, those almonds need a good pounding, even though they've been soaked. But as the pieces get smaller and smaller, the grinding, stirring with pressure motion begins to work well. Here's where we are now. That's fine enough. There's a lot of milk that has come out. And although there are all kinds of things people use to strain with, this is an ultra-fine strainer, the finest one I could obtain, and it seems to be adequate. The wide mouth funnel underneath it is something sold as a canning funnel, which I actually have on hand from canning, but places like Walmart carry them if you want one. The whole setup isn't very big, so I end up spooning in gradually so as not to overflow the capacity of the strainer and the funnel. The stone mortar is very heavy. I can lift it, but I don't like to try to lift it and pour it into the jar, at least not while it's full of almond milk. At the very end, I may lift it to get the last little bit and pour. It does take a minute for the milk to go on down through the pulp, especially as there gets to be more than a little bit of pulp in your strainer, or whatever you're using as a strainer. Here comes the last of the milk. At the very end, I do press down a little bit with my hand on top of that almond pulp to get the last little bit of milk out. And there it is. It's ready. Aside from the soaking, this process takes about 15 minutes of fairly strenuous work with the hands, but it's entirely doable. We discard the skins that have been removed, but we save the pulp and use it in baked goods.